Everybody, and welcome to Chelsea Groton Bank's Facebook video. This week, we're talking about small businesses and hiring. It's becoming increasingly difficult to hire people for small business employment and for small businesses to find the correct employee for them. So today we're speaking with Alexis Kahn, who is part of our business banking department, and we're going to be talking about what small businesses in our area are seeing. Hi, Alexis.
Hi, Miria. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So you work with so many local businesses. What is their employee hiring looking like right now?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is over the past several months, every time I talk to small businesses about their challenges and needs, the biggest thing that comes up across the board, it doesn't matter what kind of business they are, is that they're just struggling to find talent and to retain their talent and to hire new employees. You know, certainly their business is picking up as things have opened up, and it's just a matter of being able to keep staffing. I mean, you walk down the street and see even signs in retailers' windows that say, well, we're closed on Wednesdays from now on because we just don't have the staff to keep ourselves open, or restaurants are certainly doing some of the same things. So it's an incredibly profound challenge, but kind of across the board. So I've talked to everybody from municipalities to CPA firms to landscaping companies who are all kind of going through the same thing. And I think it's really hard particularly for some of our small businesses in the community, to differentiate themselves. They don't have the kind of resources and the same sorts of advertising that some of the larger employers in our area have, and that has really presented a challenge. I was talking to one business customer who was saying some of the area employers who are much bigger are advertising the fact that they're have hiring bonuses. So as long as you stay for a certain period of time, you get something like $1,000 bonus. And depending on the job, that could be a really significant and meaningful bonus to some employees. And so for them, it's so challenging to compete with an employer like that, advertising hiring bonuses. So it's kind of hard to gain traction because they might not have the sphere of influence to be able to kind of promote their business and what they're hiring for, as well as to compete when there's such big things as hiring bonuses and also higher wages that are being advertised. So it's presenting a really big issue for them to be, as certainly the conditions have enabled them to open up. It's great. Like, they have orders coming in, they're able to open their doors, and yet with this inability to have enough staff, it's kind of stymied their ability to really become fully in throttle and start earning back what they might have lost during the pandemic.
Yeah, so because traditional hiring right now is a little bit difficult, what, in your opinion, is a good way for these small businesses to meet and hire employees that are right for them, outside of that traditional hiring process, which doesn't seem to be working right now?
Right. So I think there are a couple of things that we've seen has been making a big difference. And I know, to the extent that a company, for example, can promote their hiring on their website, on a dedicated page on their website, that's an easy thing to do. I think, maybe they don't have a whole entire hiring platform that they can integrate, but even if they can just kind of put, let's say, some short videos or some photos that really promote their company culture. Really what we've heard is that so many people are searching for jobs in very online kind of digital ways. So, it's not looking through the paper anymore, it's really online. And so if they can show kind of more about what their company culture is on their website, that's a great tip, as well as, through social media. That's another way that they can, to the extent that they can really promote not only what they're hiring for, but all of the benefits and kind of the culture that goes along with it. Certainly, and I'll just say this is kind of anecdotal, but there's a lot of great benefits that are kind of maybe not tangible, that are, if you work for a small business, in terms of flexibility and career growth and autonomy and having the ability to wear a lot of hats and get a feel for different areas of business that really you might not be able to get in a larger company. So when compared to, I know, $1,000 signing bonus is a big benefit, but if those smaller businesses are really able to showcase and present kind of the less tangible attributes of their positions that might make it a big difference between, why would I go to work for a larger company if I could have a lot of upward mobility at a smaller company based on, not as many layers and not as much bureaucracy and that kind of thing. So I think if there's a way to kind of capture what is meaningful about your culture and the benefits of working for you as a small business owner in kind of a digital medium. So, promoting it on your website, promoting it in the social media capacity, because that's the channels that people are going to be looking for. That seems to be, kind of a way that we've seen people be able to gain some traction on the hiring front. I think what's also interesting, and this is more just, again, through hearing that there's been some great successes with really kind of looking outside of the exact prior experience that you're hiring for and maybe focus more on transferable skills. And because there's a lot of, this is called the Great Resignation. People are just unhappy with what they're currently doing, looking for something different and new. And so that person who might never have worked in your field might have still the skill set and the capacity and aptitude to be able to work in your field, and just being able to identify really what you need from what are the basic skill sets that you need that are really, you cannot live without, but what is teachable. So to maybe look through that lens of, okay, this is something that I absolutely have to have, but everything else can be teachable if they're coming from a different position in a different, industry, for example. I think that gives people a lot more, a greater pool to choose from, and certainly can, if somebody has been in a prior field and want to get out of that for a certain reason, you offer the opportunity for them to change fields. I think certainly, I kind of touched upon this a bit, but to the extent that, I've been reading a lot about how, you always say work-life balance, and that's been promoted a lot, but to the extent that you can it's been sort of flipped to be life-work balance, that people are now kind of embracing this concept of life-work balance. And so to the extent that you can, again, position the opportunities that you give to people from sort of those intangibles of this is what you offer to them, and really promoting how it is kind of playing into that life-work balance and flexibility, whether it's, ability to work from home or some flexible hours, kind of being a little bit more creative in terms of what your positions can be so that you can play into that whole movement. And I was even reading something recently about how there was a software company that was experimenting with 4-day work weeks because people were just, and that's what was a huge differentiator for them in being able to say, look, we only have a 4-day work week, and people were really favorable to that and willing to kind of, maybe take a little bit of a pay cut or something, but for the flexibility and the benefit of having, fewer days in the office. And I think to that point, it also, I know we've seen this a lot. We have a benefits fair, for example, and to really be able to the extent that you have benefits or can provide them, to put like a numerical, something quantitative behind that, because certainly when you are up against another employer who is advertising an hourly rate that's higher than what you can offer, but they don't offer certain benefits, somebody is just going to be looking at that rate, and if they might say, oh, okay, I have healthcare, I have 401k plan or something like that. But if you're able to kind of indicate how that actually goes into their paycheck, if they were to have to pay for healthcare themselves, so to really, if you can break down those costs and really emphasize how those benefits are, money in their pocket, basically. Is another way to really differentiate yourself against some employers who don't offer those kind of benefits. And certainly, another thing that we are advocating for is just, there's a lot of, because this is such a different scenario, in terms of it really being such an employee market, than we've seen maybe in the past. You know, networking and meeting with other small business owners who are running into these same challenges gives you, you know, an opportunity to just kind of learn from what they've done and what's been successful and what's not been successful. So, you know, to the extent that you really have across different industries the ability to talk to other business owners who are struggling with the same challenge, because maybe their ideas will prompt something that you can do in your areas you're looking for employees. And even, you know, in a networking capacity, you might meet somebody who, as you're talking about your company, they might say, "Ooh, that sounds really good," and then maybe it's a potential candidate at some point. I have seen, I will say, interestingly enough, amongst our small business customers, a lot of movement between, like, I'll know the person because they worked previously at one of our customers, and then I'll turn around and they're now at a different customer. So there seems to be all this movement, but they're moving between different, you know, local businesses. So to the extent, you know, the pool of people here, and more people you know, the greater the possibility that you can maybe potentially hire some of those individuals.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Chelsea offers a lot of opportunities, especially through your department, for some networking. So how can we help our small businesses with that? What are we offering?
Yeah, so we certainly have been doing a number of networking events for different business owners. We recently did a cybersecurity seminar that had a great turnout. Again, it wasn't specifically about the topic of hiring, but there was a networking component and people got to meet and mingle. So really, if you can, you know, attend something like that, that's a great opportunity to meet some individuals. And as well as we, through the Chelsea Women's Club, recently offered a class on digital marketing, and that was on, you know, social media and digital marketing strategies. And again, if you take a class such as that, you can use those techniques to anything, you know, to anything, including trying to advertise or promote the fact that you're hiring. So it doesn't have to be to get new customers; it could be to get new employees, for example. So things like that, leveraging those different pieces of advice that we offer, and also the networking opportunity as well. We will continue, we're working on some programs for the small business community that will be going on next year as well. So, and also I would say, you know, when you are talking with your banker, whether it's in the branch or whether it's with a member of either the business banking or cash management sales team, you know, certainly mention the fact that you're looking for some new staff, and kind of maybe give a little bit of a description about what you're looking for in terms of that role, because you know, we meet so many different people that maybe we know of somebody who's looking for a job, and with that background or that skill set, and we can facilitate that introduction. So we are certainly happy to be a resource if we can, you know, especially if you know of somebody who's out of work and is looking for something in your area. So, you know, the more people you kind of tell, the greater that we can help sort of spread the word for you. And again, you know, any kind of networking opportunity that we provide, certainly you can avail yourself of that as well. We would love to see you there.
And so how can people have access to those events?
Sure. So I would say, they're usually promoted. So through our own Mutual Matters publications, our newsletters. So I would say if you can sign up and make sure that you're on our Business Mutual Matters e-newsletter distribution list, you can just add your email address, be added to that. I would also say that, you know, just follow us on social media. We promote them on our Facebook and page in terms of those events, as well as if you can send me an email, I can certainly add you to our email distribution for any specific events, because I keep kind of a list that we make sure that certain people are always invited. And that my email address is akahn@chelseagroton.com.
Great, thank you. And I'll make sure that that is on the bottom. Thank you so much, Alexis, for speaking with us today. That was a ton of really helpful information, and we hope it really helps our small business customers.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Have a great one.